Steve Hammond Paul has a very progressive sense about them.
They bring to us from across the state the latest trends educationally and the latest design information, and that is very helpful to a small town like Hamilton.
With their experience with schools, they can translate our educational needs into bricks and mortar.
They've been able to help us through their work with other school districts and career centers be able to incorporate some technologies that we ourselves may not have thought about using.
Every building was distinctly different. We traveled the state, and as we looked at other architects, there was always that similarity. Both of our buildings are distinctly different in our own district. Steve Hammond Paul was not afraid to do that.
The relationship with them has been a lot of fun. I truly trust them. I feel like they have our best interest at heart as we work to do things and work together through each project.
Steve Hammond and Paul is very good at a lot of things. Obviously, they wouldn't be as successful in business. But I was amazed at the way they listen. If they do not listen, they cannot put your ideas and what you want on paper.
They've come to our board meetings, they've become part of us on a regular basis and had meetings to make sure that we were able to bring 7 new buildings online on time and under budget.
These aren't people that don't care about what they do, that are interested in making their dollar and going on to the next district. They're truly interested in building a relationship with the districts they work with and working with us for the long haul.
It's never about Steve Hammond Paul, it's about Southwestern City Schools, and I think that's something that's perhaps somewhat unique to an architectural firm. It's about serving the customer, and that is a rather refreshing approach.
Well, being an urban school district, money is always an issue for us. So the goal is always to provide what's cutting edge, what's state of the art on a very conservative budget.
They, came out with additional ideas to help us lower our overall energy costs so that in the long run, 20 or 30 or 40 years from now, we believe we're going to have very efficient, very economical buildings, and it's going to save us a bunch of money versus where we are now.
It's just a great process. We problem solve. We want problem solvers. That's what hopefully an architect does, besides giving you design ideas, is to solve the problem. You've got to get X number of kids and X number of spaces. You've got so much money to work with. How can we make that happen?
The work that Steve Hammond and Paul has done in our district has gone over very well. I think there's always the challenge when you bring on new facilities that folks will say, oh, that was just a waste of taxpayer money. We did too much. And we haven't seen that. Our buildings are very well done. They're very well constructed. And yet, it's not extravagant in any way. They're very functional, and they're very useful, and they're very nice.
They've been excellent with, as we're adding on and renovating, blending the old with the new.
The geothermal. That is something we invested in and we believed in strongly. That was something that was going to pay back in a very short amount of time, between 5 and 7 years. That was an innovative design.
They created a unique little room, actually sits between 2 classrooms. It's shared by the rooms, and that's a very unique feature of our Indian Trail Elementary School that they designed.
They oriented that building north and south exactly so they would actually maximize the sun and the daylighting and also help us with heating and cooling.
Usually when you add on to a building such as our junior high, which was built in the mid-70s, people expect you to add a wing, expect you to go out one direction or the other or go up. But by providing a wraparound system, give the appearance of an entirely brand new building.
They highlighted things like more windows, larger windows in the classrooms to reduce our overhead lighting needs and also our air conditioning needs.
Well, I'm kind of like a walking commercial for the schoolhouse quality process. The thing that strikes me is it's a process that is totally driven by the people in our community.
By that process, we were able to see better for ourselves what we actually wanted and what the district wanted as a whole.
What we were able to pull out of the Schoolhouse of Quality was what our community wanted built, and it became their project. And through that, and by educating them that it was their decision, we successfully passed not a $43 million project, but now a $62 million project. It became their project, and they wanted more built.
It's fun to stand around and listen. They say, oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, that's something that we mentioned in the process.
We didn't want a cookie cutter school. We wanted the school that was very indicative of the Miami Trace culture, and that was done with hundreds of people. You know, Steve Hammond and Paul taking countless extra hours to bring people. The cooks came in, the custodians, the first grade teachers, the second grade teachers, the principals, the community. You know, all these different people, all these different meetings coming in to help design that building. That's what really sold us.
They assigned talented people to our projects. We developed relationships with those people over time, and I don't think those relationships will ever end.
Highly recommend them not only for new construction, but also on the renovation side.
I'm spoiled now. I'm going to hate to take on any other projects because of how this project ran.
I would work with Steve Hammond and Paul again in a heartbeat.
I can't believe that anybody would not want to work with Steve Hammond and Paul.
Whoever you pick, you need to be comfortable with who that is, and we have that comfort level with Steve Hammond and Paul.
We would choose Steve Hammond and Paul. They were great, and we would highly recommend them to anyone that's considering a school construction project.
I would recommend Steve Hammond and Paul to anyone.
So you don't get too many opportunities to do this, and when you do it, you want to do it right, and we feel like we're doing it right.
If we had to choose an architectural firm tomorrow, we would choose, once again, we would choose Steve Hammond and Paul.